In today's video for Alpha Universe, I'm going to give you a behind the scenes look at my photo shoot here in my studio. I'm going to explain everything as far as the camera, the lens, settings, my lighting, everything that you need to know so you can recreate this look on your own. Welcome back to Alpha Universe. My name is Miguel Quiles. I'm a Sony artisan of imagery. I'm here in the studio today. I'm going to give you the entire breakdown as I mentioned at the opener. And we're going to start first with our camera and our lens. To shoot this, I'm actually using the Sony Alpha 1. For studio stuff, I love using this camera because you get that high resolution, really clean image. Autofocus is great. Obviously, this is the king of the Sony hill, so I'm cheating a little bit. I want to get some good shots. Alpha 1 makes it easy. On the lens side of things, I'm shooting this with the 24-105 G series lens. Awesome lens for shooting studio stuff like this because I can get those wide shots. Again, we're going for an editorial vibe, so some of the shots I'm going to get are going to be, full body. He's seated on this Apple box, which we'll talk about in a second, but I could do the full body, do the close-up, portraits, headshots, all of that with just one lens. When you're shooting this type of look and you're trying to do this quick, you really don't want to have to keep switching lenses. 24-105 gets the job done, very sharp lens. I'm going to be triggering this with a remote. And before we go into this, let's kind of talk about the lighting setup that we're using. I've got two strobes. It's a simple 2-light setup. Don't get too caught up with the exact lighting that I'm using because you could really use anything. You use speed lights, strobes, LEDs, whatever you have, you can make it work. In this case, I have two ProPhoto D2s. These are 1,000-watt strobes. We're not going to need that much power, but it's here and I have it. Main light is going to be with a 7-foot umbrella. This has a silver interior. I've got an outer layer of diffusion to give it kind of a nice soft look. So this is going to be our main light. Behind our model, we're going to have a second light. This is a 1,000-watt ProPhoto light, and this is going into a small silver umbrella. And essentially, all this is going to do is just act as a little bit of a separation light for these shots, and you'll see those once we get to shooting. You could probably get away with doing this as a one-light setup. You don't have to have that. You could just simply have the one light with a big light source like this 7-foot umbrella. You're pretty much good to go. Then I'm triggering this with my remote. So that's basically what we're using for our lighting. Let's talk about the rest of this setup in terms of our background and our props. Last but not least, let's talk about our setup and our props here. The most important prop, my man Ramon is here. All right, he's gonna be modeling for us. So that's kind of important. You need a model, to do this, make this whole thing work out. But so he's gonna be modeling for us, sitting on an Apple box. This is just, I think this is made by Kupo. There's a lot of different brands that make these, but using it as a seat just gives that really nice kind of editorial vibe that we're going for. Our background is gonna be a hand-painted textured background. This one's actually made by Gravity Backdrops, but there's a lot of different companies that make these backdrops. I love this. It just, again, gives that editorial kind of vibe that we're going for. So that's pretty much it. Kupo Apple box, our backdrop. Now, let's get to shooting. So as we start shooting, let me explain the settings and kind of how I landed on the shots. So I'm shooting at an f8, 1/160th of a second, ISO 100. Those settings that I've dialed into the camera, those are not going to change. That's going to stay pretty much where it needs to be. That's what the ambient light in this room would be. It's going to completely underexpose whatever light's in this studio. So you won't see anything at f8, 1/160th ISO 100. Where the magic comes in is when you start bringing in your lights. So bringing in this main light, I've got it dialed into a 6.3 right now. Again, don't pay too much attention to that because depending on the modifier you're using, you might have a totally different setting. But for me right now, 6.3 for my main light. I'm gonna dial in that main light and make sure that it looks exactly the way that I want it to look. Once I have that dialed in, I turn on my backlight. Right now that's currently set to 4.8. And all that's doing is just creating a little bit of an edge light so that way he's not blending into the background. So with those settings dialed in, everything should be looking good. We're gonna start shooting. All right, so there you have it. That's how we do this editorial setup here in the studio. Do me a favor, if you have any questions about the setup, the gear, whatever, leave them in the comment section below. I'll do my best to answer those questions. And while you're down there, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel because we got new videos releasing all the time. Do me a big favor, give my man Ramon a follow. We're gonna put his info in the description of this video as well, so give him a follow, please, on Instagram.
Yes.
And listen, there's a lot of great tutorials here on this channel, but the one that you see here on the screen, this is one that I think will be really helpful for you. So do me a favor, check it out, and I'll see you there.